sanitize the environment and to ensure that there is adequate management of waste being generated, to address public health concerns, and thereabout ensure a sustainable, healthy, and cleaner environment. However, to make this effort translate into reality and be results-driven, the needed or relevant stakeholders must be involved. The communities must be engaged and involved in this particular exercise. And with that, if we have all hands on deck, we'll not only achieve results, but we'll also achieve a society where every citizen will be concerned and see sanitation exercise as their own responsibility and not an imposed exercise by the government.
Like having lost the culture of this monthly sanitation exercise for about 10 years following the court judgment in 2016, do you think the residents, Lagosians will find it difficult to comply?
Yeah.
To imbibe the culture of sanitation exercise?
To imbibe the culture of sanitation exercise after a long break, it's not automatic. As such, there should be aggressive and consistent sensitization. Yeah, so that is where we need the stakeholders, we need the local government. I know and I'm aware that the state government has actually involved the local government in this. Yeah, but the CDAs, the relevant NGOs, because before the enactment or introduction of this policy, some NGOs have been doing this exercise. You see recyclers going to different markets, going to different communities, going to beaches to do cleanups. Yes, they are doing it to promote awareness, and they are also doing it as well to better their business. But nonetheless, they've been involved in this particular practice for some years. So now that the government has now woken up from slumber to get this repaired, to get this policy reintroduced. So these stakeholders and relevant professional organizations like WAMASIN, NES, NIE should be involved in this particular reintroduction of policy. As such, it should not be seen as a government alone practice, but it should be seen as all involved or multi-stakeholders involved exercise. And the CDAs should also be carried along, resident associations be carried along, youth and women, the market and all of that should be carried along, so that at the end of the day, it should be seen as a shared responsibility so delivered.
Already, local governments are being carried along. There was the stakeholders engagements involving all the local government areas and local council development areas. Sometimes last months, as one can see it, to get to the nook and crannies across Lagos, no matter what, councils need to be actively engaged. The state government is also saying that the National Union of Road Transport Workers will also be carried along. But apart from that, I was there when the Lagos State Governor did a symbolic exercise in motion. We didn't see anything like enforcement restriction of movements. But during the last week, on Wednesday, the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources made a clarification that there will be enforcement, movement of people will be restricted. One can see what happened on Saturday when it started. Do you think the state government will be floating the court judgments?
Well, to say the local state government be flouting the High Court judgment is not within my jurisdiction to say. But however, I would advise that the legal experts are involved in this, and community stakeholders are involved, civil society organizations are involved, such that any enforcement that will be enacted in this, any enforcement that will be passed on those people that flouted this policy should be one that is within the ambit of the law. Yes, freedom of movement is a fundamental human right, and the safety of my neighbor is also my right to do. It's my duty to ensure my neighbor is as well safe within my particular activity, within my activities. So and these are the things that needs to be looked at. So to pass a judgment that Lagos State government will be flouting the law. I know the Lagos government is a state that is actually. Can we take that again?
Okay. Please continue.
Okay. So the Lagos State government is a body that actually has all of its activities delivered within the ambit of the law. So we have legal experts within the Lagos State government structure. So, and I'm sure they will involve the legal experts, they will involve the civil society organization, they will involve the community, such that for any enforcement to be passed on those that flouted this policy, it will be duly, it will fall within the ambit of the law in a way that it does not contravene the High Court's judgment.
Yeah. Do we really need these environmental sanitation exercises monthly in Lagos states? Years back, there used to be health inspectors called Wole in Yoruba land. They check the houses, the surroundings. Why not revive that scheme?
Okay. However, we still have environmental health officers. Environmental health officers are the one being referred to as Wole. We still have them, and we have them at the local government, we have them at the state, and they as well at the federal government within the ministries, and they work with certain agencies. So yes, developments happen. So that practice is archaic. Like for instance, now if somebody walk up to your house now to say, oh, I want to check your kitchen, I want to check your backyard, I want to see, you feel somehow as why would you just come this morning to say you want to check my environment? So that to some extent is like infringing on the rights of residents. So that is why that practice is being seen as archaic and unlawful. So that the more reason there's an upgrade or a redesign of such particular policies. So that is why it is important for a particular person to be wary of what he or she does in a way that it will not affect the next door person. So if you feel whatever thing you are doing, okay, like open burning now, if somebody is burning waste in his or her house, you are not only impacting yourself, you are as well impacting your neighbors negatively, and you are impacting even neighbors far away from you, yeah, because it affects the ozone layer, it affects the air we breathe in. A lot of things are about to happen as such. So therefore, it is my right to make sure that whatever activities I put up is conducted in a way and manner that it does not affect my neighbors negatively.
Now, do you think the Lagos State government is doing what is adequate as far as our sensitization and awareness program is concerned on maintaining a clean and a healthy environment? Because health is wealth.
Well, yes, as much as I want to give thumbs up to the Lagos State government, I must say that the sensitization cannot be overemphasized. So as such, there's need for more hands to be on deck. There's need to bring more stakeholders, professional organizations, relevant professional organizations. There's need for us to bring them into this particular exercise such that this sensitization can get to the nooks and crannies of the state. Because this sanitation we are talking about, yes, for someone who's educated and exposed, so they know that yes, it is necessary to be done. But for certain individual, sanitation is not their thing. Yes, what you consider as a dirty environment is like a comfort zone to some certain set of people. And you agree with me, when you go to areas like Agarawu, Isaleko, you'll see that some houses, you see sewage flowing under some beddings, through some beddings. So in such environments, you want to tell them, to sanitize the environment. What they have as a norm, what they have as standard, is not even sanitized. If you ask them to sanitize the environment, it's like you are telling them to move away from that particular environment. So that is why there has to be adequate sensitization. So the awareness has to be intense in a way that everyone will see the importance of sanitation. And when they understand the importance of sanitation and everyone is involved, then it should be result driven. When they see that the result is there, so it leads to cleaner environments, so the flood risk has been adequately reduced, then everybody will see that yes, the government actually means it. And another thing we also have to be wary of is that, so when we do this sanitation, it should not be a thing whereby heap of refuse will lie on the street. So the PSP should also be adequately involved in a way that when the wastes are collected, they are picked up promptly. At least there should not be waste on the streets of Lagos 1 hour after the exercise. So if you have waste lying on the streets of Lagos beyond that day, then it's like you are using waste to decorate the state of Lagos. So, and we should not be. So there's need for all of this to be critically looked at. So the waste infrastructure should also be considered in a way that such that when the PSP collect the waste, they should not spend long hours at the dump site to drop those waste, so that they can go back to pick more. So it's a multifaceted situation that has to be looked at.
One can see that some Lagosians are so recalcitrant. They don't want this culture of a clean environment. Refuse are being dumped indiscriminately on the road, on the road median, on canals, drainages, blocking such, which leads to flooding.
Alright, so for me, I believe the sensitization is still not enough. The awareness level is still low. Yes, and we should also introduce a carrot and stick approach. Yes, we've been talking about enforcement where every policy is so passed, you say yes, it has to be enforced. Yes, when you are punishing someone for doing something wrong, there should also be a situation whereby you have to appreciate somebody for doing something right. So when they see that, okay, for this exercise or for a clean environment, we have something we call waste champion. Yeah, maybe like a competition among communities, among local governments, such that the Lagos State government will say, yes, at the end of the month, we want to award the cleanest local government in Lagos. We want to award the cleanest CDA in Lagos. So we want to award the cleanest markets in Lagos. So since cleanest school in Lagos, things like that. So even the residents, even the stakeholders of that particular institution, they will put their hand on deck to make sure that yes, this is clean. So it will not be out of place if we also look at, okay, there are certain individuals maybe that go extra mile to make sure that their environment is clean, is being selected or nominated to be appreciated at different community for doing certain things. I don't know what that would be. Maybe a particular individual would say, yes, okay, I want to take that as a responsibility to ensure that my street or home is clean, my street is clean, my community is clean. So if you have such effort, such individual dedicated to such service, I think if you have a system of celebrating such individual, that will encourage more people to come on board, get themselves involved, because they know by their efforts it is being recognized and they will be appreciated for it. Yes, so another angle to that is that as much as I want to blame the residents for not complying with clean environments, so we also need to look at our waste management infrastructure. So is it adequate? The PSP operating in your area, in our areas, do they come regularly? So they are supposed to come maybe like once in a week to collect our waste and discard. So do they come weekly as expected? So is it their fault? Is it the infrastructure that is inhibiting their performance? So if a resident says that, oh, the PSP that was supposed to come to my area did not come in the last 4 months, will they keep waste in their house? So those are it's a dimensional problem. So the residents have challenge, the PSP operators is also challenged, even the waste the custodian of the waste infrastructure is also have their fault in this and so on. So when we need to look at all of these things, if they are critically fixed, yeah, then we will have a clean environment. Yeah, because yes, if every persons collect their waste and put it on the frontage of their house on the day they expect PSP is coming, and it stays there for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the waste get back into their house. It's falls off on the street because it will still continue to generate more waste in a way that they will not be able to bring more waste outside. So it means some waste will be kept inside, some are left outside. When reinforced, it drop all of this waste into the drainage channel, drop them on the street, and things like that. So yes, I'm not saying it is right for residents to put their waste on the street. It's totally wrong. And this should not even be the case despite this particular situation. So that is why the awareness level has to be increased. That is why the CDAs, the Resident Association, relevant professional associations, the civil society organizations should be involved in this. Government should not see it as their own responsibility alone to do. Let's build a situation whereby residents will see sanitation as their civic responsibility, not by enforcement. Yes, it is good to enforce, but nonetheless, when you're enforcing, there should also be a way of appreciating efforts of individuals that have actually dedicated themselves to sanitation of the state.
Can we briefly talk about plastic waste pollution?
What?
Plastic waste pollution.
All right.
In the recent times, plastic pollution has become an headache to the extent that they pose a problem even to human body, human health, from the sea animals that we eat. It enters in human body. Even the newborn babies. How problematic will you say plastic pollution is right here in Lagos State?
All right. So research has shown that consumption of plastics is injurious to health. Yeah, it is not good for human, neither is it good for animals. So as such, it is necessary for us to manage our waste, right? Plastic, even right from our homes. Waste generally, but plastic in particular. And there's another thing I also need to mention. This waste that we talked about, waste here, waste here, waste here and there. If we have due sensitization and due awareness, so we know that it is not waste, but it is wealth for us. So, and that's the reason I mentioned that we have to increase our level of awareness and level of sensitization, such that individuals, residents will see that, oh, when I pick this plastic and keep it on this side, at the end of the month I can get value for it. When I collect my organic waste, the waste of the ewedu or vegetable I use in my kitchen, if I put them aside, at the end of the month, at the end of the week, there's value for it. My metal waste at home, if I keep them on one side, there's value for it. When we do this sensitization at different levels and let's get to the nooks and crannies of this place, even without enforcement, you see that residents will duly comply because they know that by collecting the waste properly, by sorting them properly, it is value and driven, value addition to them. So it will reduce the amount they are spending to get that particular thing. So, so sensitization has to get to the extent of letting people know that the organic waste you generate at home, when you there's a way you can use it to generate gas for cooking in the kitchen. You're talking about plastics. Plastic itself, the fishes in the river, when they consume plastic, in return we go to the market to buy these fishes. When we eat the fish, it means we are consuming plastic. Because an individual might say, yes, I'm not eating plastic now. Yeah. So, but nonetheless, you are going to the market to get all of these items. But the meat you get in the market, maybe the meat, the ram or the cow, in one way or the other, has consumed water that contains microplastics, same as the fishes. So that is why the sensation has to go on, yeah, in a way that the government's position on SUPs is really progressive. But nonetheless, the sensitization has to go on because a lot of persons do not know the importance of the policy so passed by the government. And when a resident or an indigent does not understand the importance of particular policies is a problem. They will see it as, well, government is just imposing things on us. But there's need for people to understand that, yeah, why this policy is important to them and important for the state.
But finally, and briefly, sir, how effective has the ban on the styrofoam and other single-use plastic in Lagos been?
Well, I would say the ban is effective. Effective in a way that at least it's been a long time I saw styrofoam on the streets of Lagos. Yeah. So voluntarily I go to market. So it's been a long time I saw styrofoam even in markets. Yeah. So but nonetheless, some plastic that are less than 0.5 micro. Yes. So but by the limits of the ban, yes, we still have them around. So it means that sensitization still has to go on. That enforcement still has to continue. And when we are introducing enforcement, we should also consider appreciation, incentive. So all of this policy should be incentive driven and enforcement driven. So when you're enforcing on one hand, you should also provide incentive on the other hand, so that those who comply will not say that, yes, we just complied. Yes, the government did not even say that we are complying. So there should be. So by appreciating those people that have complied, it's also a way of encouraging those people who are not complying to follow suit. So rather than staying in the lane that will get them being punished, they will rather fall on the lane that can get them to be appreciated. So there's need for government to actually look inward to see what can be done in incentivizing all of these policies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gbolahan.
It's my pleasure.